Hi, Mr. Highspeed, is it?
Yes, Sergeant Kent Highspeed.
Sergeant, Mr. Highspeed, please have a seat.
Thank you, ma'am.
Kent, is it okay if I call you Kent?
Roger that. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Please relax. Make yourself at home. I'm really excited to meet you today. Really, some wonderful accomplishments at your resume. So, I think the phrase you use in the military is "at ease." Is that right? Did I get?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, good, good.
Right.
I have to be open with you, Kent. The military is new to me. I don't have a lot of experience in the military. We do have a niece who is serving overseas right now. We couldn't be prouder of her, but unfortunately, none of that has really rubbed off, and I don't have a lot of experience there. So, what I'd like to do is I'd like to, as we're talking, I would like to, any phrases or acronyms that come up that I don't understand, I'd like to ask you, just kind of, hopefully not interrupt your train of thought, but just ask you about them, ask you to define them. Does that sound okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, wonderful. Please call me Marcia. We have a very relaxed environment here in the company. In fact, I tell you that I was in a meeting with the CEO the other day, Mr. Chuck Taylor, and he has everyone call him Chuck. It's just kind of our way of making sure that information is flowing in the organization, maybe fight bureaucracy, you could call it, just kind of make people comfortable. So please call me Marcia.
Yes, Marcia.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you, Kent. Okay. All right, so what we're doing today is we are just meeting to share information, right? I'm going to ask you some questions about your time in the military, your experience, some of the things that you accomplished and have done. A lot of it's right here on your resume you've provided me. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about our company and this position that we have opened, kind of the culture, the fit, other people in the organization to give you some background. Does that sound good?
Yes, Marcia.
Okay. Kent, too, I will ask you questions, and you please jump in at any time to ask me questions. We have our own acronyms and our own vocabulary. Some of the things will seem foreign to you, and at any point you have a question, you jump in. It'll seem foreign at first, but I think it might be one of the reasons why a lot of military veterans call us home and enjoy working for us and for many years, because you kind of get in and can feel that same sense of camaraderie in many ways. Okay?
Okay. All right, thank you.
Wonderful. All right, so I had to say, again, Kent, looking at your resume, there's a lot of really wonderful accomplishments, but there was one thing that really jumped out to me that I wanted to ask you about today. So it says here, NCO of the year. Did I get that right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, right, wonderful. Can you start off by telling me NCO, what does that mean, please?
The acronym NCO stands for Non-Commissioned Officer. In the military, there's different levels of an NCO. There's kind of like an entry supervisory level, then a mid-tier level, and then a senior manager, a senior NCO. Okay. So I achieved the rank of senior NCO in my career.
Okay, neat. So non-commissioned officer, senior NCO. Got it. Okay. Kent, let me get you something to drink. Sometimes these interviews can dry us up a little bit, but a good glass of water, okay? All right? You're welcome. Okay, so NCO, you said I got that. It says here, actually, NCO or First Sergeant of the Year. Did I get that right?
Yes, Marcia.
What is that?
There is an award that's given every year for NCO or superior performers. And as an NCO, I was the first sergeant for the squadron, so I had won that First Sergeant of the Year award.
Okay. All right. And if you could do, what I try to do in my role is I'm trying to picture you in that role. I'm trying to picture you, achieving that, coming across. So if you could, I'd ask you, Kent, think back. It's maybe been a little time now, but think back to before you were awarded that award, and think about the steps you took to accomplish it. Kind of walk me through how you got there.
I try to use three main priorities in accomplishing my duties and responsibilities, and the first one was the commander's policies and guidelines. Want to make sure that the squadron was adhering to Air Force regulations and the government, the commander's policies. The second one was I was responsible for all troop-related issues, so morale, welfare, discipline, medical, dental, all those types of requirements. And so I would just try to make sure that I would be able to effectively manage the squadron with those responsibilities. And the third one was the overall mission readiness of the squadron. So I monitored the training requirements, the weapons requirements, and all those things to make sure that the commander had a mission-ready force.
Okay, great, Kent. On the third one, you talked about training and mission readiness. Can you tell me about some of those things that you specifically were measuring or working to improve? Some ideas on how you did that?
Well, with training, there's numerous levels of yearly required training and stuff like that that's required. So there's computer-based training, and a lot of our training is kind of I don't want to say there's deadlines and time requirements and stuff like that. So it does get to be almost like a competitive aspect of how we train, because we train to fight.
You mentioned the physical fitness test. Could you tell me a little bit more? Is that part of the training as well?
Fitness test is a yearly requirement for every service member in the squadron. So they are required to maintain a healthy lifestyle. Fit to fight is the term they use these days. So there's a height and weight standard that the Air Force implements, which also the fitness test is a yearly where you run, you do sit-ups and push-ups, and so it can kind of turn into a little bit of a competitive amongst the squads in the organization.
Okay, wonderful, Kent. And it sounds like you mentioned competition, and I'm sure, you know, as far as this first sergeant of the year, it was very competitive, I imagine. But could you walk me through a little bit from, you know, is it from the city? Does it start in your town, or how do you get to what level or geography are we talking about as far as attaining this award?
Well, the award itself for First Sergeant of the Year starts at the wing level, and there's 9 first sergeants on the installation. So
Installations like the unit
on the fighter wing. So out of those 9, I was selected as the fighter wing first sergeant, and then from there I was forwarded on to the state level. And at the state level in the state of Wisconsin, there's 19, I believe, first sergeants in the state, and I won First Sergeant of the Year for the state of Wisconsin. And then my nomination package was submitted on to the national level.
Wow, okay, wonderful. Wow, 19 and then on beyond that. That really sounds very competitive again. So Kent, let's talk about competition a little bit. How has that been a part of your career, or, you know, how do you look at that?
Well, as a first sergeant, I had to implement the rules and the standards, so I felt that I had to set the example for my troops. So I would tend to strive to reach a personal best, but I also want to incorporate teamwork or a team concept with my squadron. So, but I felt when I set the standard, it kind of made others around want to accomplish their personal best. So overall, we accomplished high level of success.
Wonderful, wonderful. Now that's something I can put to work in our company.